How's it going, guys? Before I get started, uh, please let me know. I have a little bit of a new setup here, so let me know if you guys can hear me okay. I'm just here I'm a guest here in this place, and I purposely have the mic so I don't have to make too much noise. So, what do we have in front of us here? What do we have in front of us here, guys? I feel like what we have is that the people that are responsible for this, who are conducting this wonderful operation, as we see, they are starting to see that people are waking up, right? They see it. They're not stupid. And they knew that people eventually would. One second, guys. They knew that people eventually would. And so now they're trying to, in Russian we say, бежать перед паровозом, to run ahead of the train, not stand in front of the train, but run ahead of the train. And basically hijack the awakening. They're trying to hijack the awakening, guys. We see right now they're all backpedaling. They're all kind of in what's called CYA mode. Cover your Tuchis mode, as it were. And this is what they're doing. This is what they're engaging in now, Today, Mr. Boris the Blade, I call him. Boris the Blade. Boris the Blade Johnson. Tommy. Anyway, that was my what's his name? The guy from Snatch. I mean, he played in other movies. What the heck's his name? I gotta tell you his name now. Otherwise, it'll just go. I'll go crazy. Jason Statham. There we go. That was the best Jason Statham impression I could do for now. Tommy, Boris the Blade. So Boris Johnson the Blade, Boris the Blade. He was caught in a work party, going against, his own policies, as it were. Nobody believed him. He came out in front of the whole parliament, and he admitted that that he's sorry and all this kind of stuff. But basically, he understands that the whole country understands that he basically went against his own rules, and therefore now they have decided to get rid of what I like to call papieren. Papieren means the papers, guys. So the UK got rid of the papers and all these different rules that they had. Whatever it is. They say that it expires in March. Interesting, guys. It's funny, guys. A friend of mine told me that their office is calling them back to work, to the office, sometime around the middle of March. I said, that's really interesting. It's very close to Purim. That's very interesting. They have a planned date, Guys, I mean, we're not stupid. We understand what this was from the very beginning, right? We understand this. So now in the UK, they're saying also middle of March around. But then he added a caveat and he said, well, that date can be moved up. It can be moved up, basically, depending on the situation. Guys, but I'll tell you, I'm still looking at what certain people are writing, and when you write, I'll give you guys an example, right? If you guys know Candace Owens, so Candace wrote on her Schmitter, she wrote 2020, getting what, so you don't schmatch it or schmed it. 2021, see, you can still schmatch it and spread it, but you won't get severely, sick or into hospital. 2022, so you caught it and were hospitalized, but at least you didn't die. And then she wrote, next, you can still die, but expect minimal suffering. And then at the end, schmeif and schmeffective. So all these people are like writing, see people writing, but what are the percentage of the versus and the hospitals, mortality? My friends, you see? Some of them are writing false stats. Some of them are writing whatever. Just the usual nonsense, guys. What's called moving the goalposts, right? My friends, you know who moves the goalposts? Guys, you can go on YouTube today, right? And you can write the term moving the goalposts. What are you going to get? You're going to get video after video after video, guys. From who? From psychiatrists and psychologists who talk about malignant narcissists who do these exact things, who move goalposts, who, when you question them on things that they said before, they say, well, no, it's not like that. It used to be like that. Now it's like this. It's a fluid situation. My friends, this is what narcissists do. This is what gaslighters do. Okay? This is how they operate. Okay? And the people that believe these people, my friends, as I said many, many times, I'll add to what I said. These people are investing in a Ponzi scheme. Not only a Ponzi scheme, what's called a pump and dump. Why is it a pump and dump, guys? Because in the beginning, it looks like it works, right? We see the charts. They believe it. It does work. It works for 2 to 3 months, right? My friends, just like a pump and dump. A stock that goes up for 2 to 3 months, and people think it's great, and then their investment tanks, and then it's back to the same. It's in the cycle, right? And then you have the next investment, the next release of the next stock, as it were, the next. I guess today they call them SPAC or IPO or whatever it is. Guys, and people have to buying more. They have to buy the third one. They have to buy the fourth one now in Israel. Okay, the fifth one. My friends, at some point, the way that this works, just like in any financial situation, right? Financial scheme, the people that invested, their psychology is such that they always believe that the thing is going to come back. That their investment is going to pay off, so to speak, right? Whatever the heck that means. And they will hold to the end. And unfortunately, guys, you know what ends up happening to those people. Their investment gets liquidated. They end up what's called holding the bag. My friends, unfortunately, and the people that are doing this, they see that people are about to understand that this thing is going to collapse, so they're preempting it, and they're now just trying to minimize damage for themselves, because they saw what happened to, for example, Bernie Madoff, right? Yeah, like an addictive drug person needs more. Not only that, it's a psychological thing. It's not the actual physical stuff, right, that they're taking. My friends, they saw what happened to Madoff. They saw what happened. And now they're just trying to, there's a guy in Israel, he came out with a whole thing. There's a channel called Unheard. It's actually a very good channel. Here you go. A guy in Israel, Israeli Shmacks chief, we have made mistakes. So he writes, he goes, here you go. Professor Cyril Cohen is the head of immunology at Bar Ilan University and a member of the advisory committee for Israeli government. In a wide-ranging forthright interview, the professor tells Freddie Sayers the Papiren concept is no longer relevant in the Shlomo Miron era and should be phased out. He expects it to be in short order in Israel. He and his colleagues were surprised and disappointed that did not prevent Shmen's mission, as they had originally hoped. The biggest mistake in a pandemic in Israel was closing schools and education. He apologized for that. Oh, so sorry. Oh, apology accepted. Widespread infection is now an inevitable part of future immunity, otherwise known as immunity, herd. Shlomo Miron has accelerated the pandemic into an endemic phase, which will turn Shmovid like the flu. See, he says, especially with Shlomo Miron, we don't see virtually any difference. There's a very narrow gap between people vaccinated and non. Both can get infected more or less at the same pace. And yet they're telling us when somebody has an issue with their heart, it was Shmovid. My friends, did you ever see the flu giving anybody issues with the heart? I mean, I don't know. Soccer players? See, he says, you have to also understand that the Papiren is not necessary, that's not a secret, it's not necessarily to prevent transmission, it's also to encourage people to get schmaxed. My friends, they even told us, this Horowitz guy said, is no epidemiological significance, it's all just a ploy. And I don't want to touch upon the political aspects of the Papiren, but this is a reality. Shmurd immunity is a consequence for me. It is not an objective. It's not a goal. There's a thin nuance here, if I may say, that people have to grasp. I'm not saying that people do go and get shmeffected, but I don't think that this is a model that we need to adopt. There is one mistake I think that we made that I'm extremely sorry for that. We made a few mistakes, but it was education. For me, education was the thing we shouldn't have touched. Never, ever. I think it's going to be like flu. I think there's going to be bad waves and better waves with a better community, a level of population, with better you-know-what, with better treatment. In that sense, and I'm extremely cautious, there's a possibility that Shlomo Miron will accelerate that transition. I think that vaccination is a personal choice. I always said that. I believe it's so, but that choice has some consequences. Oh, yes, my friends. It's called we have treatments. And here there is a problem in society. If you are over 50, 60 and you're saying, I don't want to get schmacked, will you be, and I'm going to ask a provocative question, will you be willing to renounce the possibility of getting taken care of in hospitals? Guys, this guy, still, my friends, you understand? My friends, do you now understand? Even as they are backtracking, even as they are doing CYA, covering their tuchas, whats, they're still making these comments. They're still making these comments. My friends, it's a death cult. It's a flippin' MFing death cult. They've denied treatments. They've denied medicines. They've poo-pooed it. They've ran it over the mud with a truck. They push what they push. They see it doesn't work. They keep pushing. They keep selling that stock, that pump and dump. And they have no shame about it, my friends. They have no shame. At least Madoff had shame. His sons hung, I don't know. I'm not saying people go hang themselves, but his sons had shame about it. Madoff had shame about it. My friends, the scary part is that these people will be caught red-handed and they have no shame. They think they're right. They're so convinced, my friends. Do you now understand that this has nothing to do with it's not even the fact that it's a con. It's more like Avodah Zarah. Because in Israel, it all began as Avodah Zarah, as idol worship. Madness, you understand? Just madness, guys. There was a guy who wrote an article about Shmokovich, and he didn't mention one thing about health. He said it's whatever it is, and this and that and the other, morals, and everybody in the country got, and why should he be excluded, and he's privileged, and then. And I wrote to this guy, I'm like, nowhere in your rant, I'll tell you exactly what I wrote to this guy in response, and maybe I shouldn't have, I don't know, but see, this is what I wrote. Your ramblings have nothing to do with health, but the rancid ideology of a pseudo-moralist cult pretending to be coming in the name of Torah. Yeah, this guy mentioned Torah. Nothing but Avodah Zarah at this point, given that the triple, are in Shmaisi use all over the world. And the fourth one, as clearly evident and admitted by the Israelis, doesn't even work against Shlomo Miron and obliterates your immune system. But enjoy your high horse and your temporary and artificial shmanti bodies. And then this other guy responded with a nice response, showing his true colors. My friends, this is a spiritual issue, guys. This is a spiritual issue. The people who are doing this stuff are involved in pushing a very, very intricate Ponzi scheme, and people just keep, and you see that people just keep buying, and at every stage when the conditions are changing, they just keep excusing. And guys, again, it's like a battered wife, You keep telling them, well, what about this? What about that? No, you don't understand, and this and that. This black eye, I fell I fell from the stairs. That's how I got this black eye. I ran into a wall. That's how I got this. Whatever. I did a backflip. I got this. My friends, it's the typical story. We've seen it. And unfortunately, we cannot do an intervention on 50% or however many people on this planet. We can't do sit them down and say, guys, enough. The game is up. We understand. We understand what's going on. And the thing's about to collapse. So now these guys realize it's about to collapse, the guys who organized it. And now they're just trying to let it down kind of easily. They're trying to back slowly, it's like slowly back away, slowly back. It's like, you guys ever see that GIF with Homer Simpson backing away into the bushes? It's like, pretend I'm going into the bushes right now. Bushes slowly, that's what they're doing, guys. That's what they're doing. If we had nothing to do with this, my friends, I'm going to end with this. Again, I mentioned this before. If you've ever seen the movie with Kevin Spacey, okay, what is it called? Usual Suspects at the end. The greatest trick the devil ever pulled was convincing the world he didn't exist. And like that, he's gone at the end. That's it. And then you see the credits. My friends, honestly, this is exactly what they're doing. This is exactly what they're doing. But with that said, guys, I have a weird feeling that Hashem is not going to let them escape scot-free. And, it's interesting that we have an extra month in between Tu B'Shvat. We have an extra Adar. That means we have an extra amount of Simcha, and we have an extra amount of watching this play out. Extra amount of time to see this play out. So we'll see what happens, guys, as Rebbe Kessin likes to say. We'll see what happens. By the way, guys, I want to call Rebbe Kessin, check on him, because people have been saying, they've been listening to his latest lectures, and just, there's an undue amount of, he doesn't sound so good. But he doesn't have COVID, but we have to check on him. And, I wish him a speedy refuah, if anything. I don't know his mother's name, but Rabbi Kessin. So we're going to check up on him, and I'll report to you guys in the next video how he's doing. B'ezrat Hashem. All right, guys. Anyway, so to quote Rabbi Kessin, we'll see what happens, and I'll talk to you soon.